What's up, YouTubers? Today I want to talk about one of the biggest threats to our freedoms in, say, the United States or North America in general, but say specifically for the U.S. Since I'm from the United States, this is from a U.S.-centric point of view. Right now, as you probably know, in China they have the social credit system. If you don't know what that is, Google China's social credit system. But basically what it is they can, if they want, can control your every move from getting on an airplane to getting on a train. And one of the biggest things a grandson does, or a son in China, is visit the relatives during the holidays. And the Chinese realize that if you can control that, you can control the individual. It's got to the point now in China where they can keep you from getting a job, shut you out of the banking system, all those things. But the real interesting thing is they're selling this software to places like Australia. So countries in the West are starting to use it, and they're starting to make modifications and fix it up where it's not working well. So every year it gets better and better at shutting people out. The worst we have it in the US is deplatforming. So here, like, the worst case scenario is if you have a bank account at Chase, maybe Chase shuts your account down. That's what's happened to US. Chase has shut down people's accounts for saying the wrong things on a social media website. But in China, it's way, way, way more significant. So the reason I bring this up is in the recent election, or the last recent election in the US, people on both the left and the right are all up in arms how if we don't vote for the right party, all our freedoms and liberties are lost. But it's not really true. The way our liberty is lost is through the social credit system that's being tried out. It's a new experiment that not many people are talking about. The reason we have more freedom and liberty in the U.S. is because of our jury court system. And jury trials are being used less and less because they're very expensive in the States. And the person that has way more power than, say, the President of the United States could be the head of the Federal Reserve, but the Supreme Court is what I would say. The Supreme Court exercises way more power than most people even recognize. And if you want to know where a lot of our freedom and liberty is lost, it's through the administrative law. When you think administrative law, just think family court. There are bureaucrats who are unelected, where you can't do much about their decisions except for appeal them. That's how all over the world, or the Western world, the United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc., England, we have what I would call the administrative law system or justice system, where these folks decide your fate, not so much the other way around, like presidents and elected officials. Anyways, I wanted to make this video to point out how the social credit system is coming to the West. It's getting cheaper and cheaper to implement, and then whatever gets cheaper and cheaper gets demanded more. And it's basically the screws are being screwed to the people. What I want to mention about that is, in the end, I don't think it really works. Mainly because in the West, the big companies make money off of us consumers. And as you use the social credit system to shut off people's freedom and liberties, you're actually slowing down the economy and destroying the economy, not super fast, but over a long period of time. So as the consumer gets poorer and poorer, they can't buy the products and services of, say, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, stuff like that. That's why I point out that as these social credit systems are tried, and as they put the screws to consumer, and as it destroys the consumer, shuts people out of the economy, it will slow down the economy so much that I think this will be abandoned in the West. Now, I could be wrong. Leave a comment if you think I'm wrong about all this. But the reason I don't think it'll be happening in the West too much is because it'll shut down the economy too much. And the consumer will probably move faster than this software can move. And there'll be private companies and private softwares that will probably figure out workarounds around a lot of this. For right now, I see Bitcoin and the blockchain as being one of those disruptive things that could happen. They could change the social credit system. But the biggest thing in the West, our freedoms and liberties are determined by our court system and the jury trial system. So some of this stuff could be thrown out of court. We'll have to wait and see. But So when you hear in the news about how it's really important that Biden won, or it's really important that Trump would win, which he didn't, that's really nonsense. The presidents don't have much power anyways, and what's changeable is basically the budget, and the budget's pretty much accounted for. But the only thing they do is raise taxes at the margin, which ain't that much, and deficit spend, which is getting closer to the point of the no return where I'm not even sure the bond markets can raise more money. So then that leaves printing presses. We'll see what happens when they start up with the printing presses. But my opinion, the West will beat the social credit system that China is implementing in China, and that China is selling all over Latin America and to first world countries like Australia. I don't think it'll really come out and win in the long run. Other people think I'm wrong, but I think the human beings will figure out ways around the social credit system, and you don't have anything to worry about. But if you do think you have something to worry about, then again, my channel is about expatriating. A plan B is what you need: banking outside of the U.S., banking in the form of Bitcoin, or banking in the form of like goldmoney.com or Bullion Vault, or any kind of offshore bank, or any kind of LLC, or any kind of society anonyma with a bank account not in your name. Those would be the last ways you can bank and do stuff and earn money without having the state take money take money from you in the form of taxes and even regulations. Some of these things are like an LLC and an SA corporation can get around a lot of the regulations, but you as an individual can. So that's my view on the biggest threat to our liberty is not the Republicans or the Democrats. It's the new system no one's talking about, the Chinese credit system that not too many people are talking about, that's slowly being implemented in the Western world. And lately I've been reading about it happening in Australia. So even in Australia, it's kind of an experiment. We'll have to see how it goes. But so far, politicians in the Western world seem to like it. They seem to want to promote it more. They seem to want to use it more. They seem to want to use it to put the screws to the people. But if you read Martin Gurri's book, you can see how that's not really working. You can see there's more and more protests and uprising in France, in Western Europe, in North America, in Latin America, in Africa, recently in Nigeria, in Middle Eastern countries, recently in Lebanon. So the elites are losing power everywhere, and they're trying to close the doors from losing more power. I don't think it's going to work though. So what will be the new system? I don't know. I think it's just going to be a rough period for now, and having a plan B in Latin America, or having a second passport residency, or like I said, an LLC in North America, or a society anonyma in Latin America, or wherever your favorite banking destination is a way to help navigate these troubled times we live in. Anyhow, like, subscribe, leave a comment, check out the view. The ducks here are like the same color as the ducks in Lago Atitlan. I noticed they're black.